Hey everyone, welcome back. Well, in my video I had just a little while ago, earlier this afternoon, I was working on the Alice Chalmers 8070, and now I got that all done. And now, like I said, I was going to pull in this 4840. We got this tractor, and let's see here. It was right at the end of 2020. A friend of my dad's had retired. I think it was in 2017 was the last year that he farmed. And so we found out he had this tractor and bought it off of him. And it's been real handy. Been a good addition for everything else. And the tractor's even got its own nickname. When we got it, sure enough, not my dad's friend, but a previous owner before that, here on the front, had taken two weights, two off of each end, in order to mount some lights right here on this weight bar, and then they also put these tabs here. And instead of doing what I did and do a setup like that, much better. But anyway, so I took a picture of the front of the tractor asking where I could get weights like this at. And as you can see, I was able to pick up four additional weights. That way I have all 20 on here. Anyway, I took a picture of it and posted it on a John Deere Facebook group I'm on. And anyway, a couple guys gave me some recommendations, but had a guy get on there and say that he loved the big front tires on the front of this thing. They're 16.5 by 16.1. And he had a rather unusual name. He called them Big Buns. And so this tractor can got the nickname Old Big Buns. Kind of strange, but oh well. We all still get a good laugh out of it. And actually, we actually have two 4840s. Like I say, we got this in here at the end of 2020. And this one here is actually a late year 1978. They made the 4840, well, that 40 series from 78 through 1982. This one here is a late year 78. And we have another 4840 that we've had, well, since about 2007 that we got off my neighbor. And he farms, but he just didn't use it anymore. And anyway, to make a long story short, that one also has big tires in the front, 16.5 by 16.1. And so, since we've had it the longest, and this one here, not near as long, I call this one Big Buns the Second, and the one that we've had since 2007, I call it Big Buns the First. And so anyway, we all get a good laugh out of old Big Buns. But right now, I am working on changing air filters. And so the air filter on this thing is right up in here. It's kind of a tight fit. It's got a wing nut, and sure enough, one of the wings busted off, and I'm having a hard time getting it spun out of there. I'm trying to get a pair of pliers onto it. In fact, I think I may actually end up taking, like I've done on the other ones, in fact on the 4955, and just let me take and put a regular 3/8 square nut on that. Let's see here, I shouldn't be too hard to locate one. Do a little digging. And let's see. There we go. throw that old busted wing nut out. And there we go, regular 3/8. Now I can use a wrench. It's got this cover that goes over it. And this little catcher right here basically helps collect, it's kind of like a pre-cleaner. Helps collect any extra dust and that kind of thing. Now, this tractor does have, I don't know how well you can see it. Let me take you out of my pocket, that way you can see. Up there on the air intake, it's got that pre-cleaner up there, and that helps to take and throw dust out into the exhaust. And you'd be surprised, that thing works pretty good. I actually wish the 4955 and the other 4840 had that too. But we actually got, main reason why we got this tractor was we have a 33-foot disc, which goes on to the 4955. We have a 30-foot disc that I put on this one. And then we have a 24.5 that I put behind that 8070. Well, before we got this second 4840, or old Big Buns the second, however you want to call it, particularly in the springtime, because the 4840, come on, there we go, like I said, it's kind of a tight squeeze. The 4840, well, the one that we've had since 2007, it goes on the corn planter, and I always take and put the 8070 onto the 24-foot disc when we're planting corn. And then we just use the 4955 and the 8070 to work ground ahead of the corn planter. Then, when we're done with corn, the 8070 goes onto the soybean planter, which I have actually posted a few videos on that. And the 4840 comes off the corn planter and goes onto the 30-foot disc. And so I was always having to do a lot of switching around. Well, now with this additional 4840, it makes it nice because I can take and before we even get busy, I can take and put the old 4840 on the corn planter. I can put the 8070 onto the bean planter and just leave them on there. I don't have to do any kind of switching back and forth, especially if we get into like more of a wet year, kind of like what we had in 2019, where we're one field might be dry that we can plant corn, and a day or two later, one field might be dry that we can plant soybeans. And so, yeah, it's a lot of switching back and forth. Whereas now, like I say, the 33-foot disc goes onto the 4955, and it just stays on there all the time during the springtime. And now with this additional 4840, I can now leave it permanently on the 30-foot disc. And so that definitely makes it nice. And actually, with both big discs running, I've not actually checked it super close, but we're running, I would guess, close to 30 acres an hour when both big discs are running, so we can cover ground. That makes it nice. And this tractor handles it well also. Now, power-wise, I can tell a difference between this 48 and the original one, because the original 48 had the guy we gobbed off of had taken and turned the pump up on the thing. And originally, according to tractor data, and I don't know if any of you have ever gotten on tractordata.com, it's pretty neat. You can get all kinds of information, specs, all your capacities, how much oil, fuel tank capacity, hydraulic oil tank capacity, all that kind of stuff, all in tractor data. But factory rated of a 4840 is approximately 180 horsepower. And which, as far as I know, this one here has never been turned up or anything like that. It's all original. And so get that little dust cap washer on there. Like you see, there's not a whole lot of room to work, and that might not even fit. Have to go back to the original one. But like I was saying, on the 4840, factory rating is 180 horse. Well, the 4840 that we got off my neighbor here back in 2007, he had the fuel pump turned up on that thing. And it's never been put onto a dyno to actually check it. However, it never lacks for horsepower. And if you start slipping with it being just a two-wheel drive tractor, it'll dig itself down to the drawbar before it ever pulls the engine down. And just keep on digging. I have actually run both 4840s. We have a 9-shank Glencoe chisel plow, and I've run both 4840s on that chisel plow, and I can tell a difference, definitely. This one here, it handles it good and everything like that, but if you get into, especially like a hard spot, or maybe a spot where water has stood, or let's see here, where else? Maybe an area where you've driven over a lot, where you got some compaction and that kind of stuff, you can definitely tell it. This one here will begin to pull down somewhat. Not super bad, but it will, you can tell it's got a load on it. The old 48, it doesn't even know anything about it. Like I say, it just keeps on spinning. And so, it's definitely weighted down the back. This one here, I'll try to show you here once I get this big outer air filter in. These things actually have two air filters. You got your outer one, then you got the inner one. And whenever we get running in lots of dust, I always try to take and blow them out. At least every other day, if not every day. But between the two 4840s, this one here does have about 1,800 pounds of wheel weights, the cast iron wheel weight. And when we got this tractor, we actually put bigger tires in the back. These here are 20.8 42s. It had 18.4 42s, which they were a little bit narrower and shorter. And when we got it, it did not have fluid inside. In fact, right there you can see it. That is one of the wheel weights. I think those are about 450 pounds. There's one on the outside here, and then there's one back in behind here on the inside of the rim. Well, when we changed tires, actually our tire man took the old tires in on trade because they were just like new still, and gave us a good price for them. Well, a good trade-in price for them. Anyway, when we put the oversized tires onto it, we put that non-corrosive rim guard in, and that added an additional 1,500 pounds per tire. And so it's got 1,800 pounds of cast iron steel weight plus 1,500 pounds, well, take that back, 3,000 pounds, 1,500 each. So 3,000 pounds of liquid weight. And now our there we go. Get it all buttoned in. And then the original 4840 oh, no wonder why. When to put that on, that's a lock nut. No wonder why it's not going to go on too well. Sure don't want that. Our original 4840, it actually has, in fact, maybe I can shoot a video when I get servicing it tomorrow. But it actually has a 1,500 pound wheel weight inside each back tire rim. So it's got 3,000 pounds of steel weight, and it also has 3,000 pounds of liquid weight. And so, I mean, the thing has got 6,000 pounds of total weight. Now, those big weights, same thing on that one. Those big weights were in the tractor when we got it from my neighbor. And we actually changed tires on it here several years ago. And same thing there also. We put the non-corrosive rim guard into it. But with that, all that weight, that's what gives you lots of traction being a two-wheel drive, and that's what you want. Like I say, this tractor's got 20.8 42s. The old 4840, it's got 18.4 46. And so its tires are a little bit narrower. Well, just like I told you, this one here originally had 18.4 42. And like I say, the first our old 4840, it's got 18.4 46. And so the tire is just a little bit narrower. However, it's the same height as this here is. And being a little bit skinnier tire is actually good, because being with it going on to the corn planter, it actually lines up, and there is actually a row of corn that goes right down between the duals. And as you can see here, there's not a whole lot of room between there. On the old 48 with the skinnier tire, it has more space, which is actually good. And so that works out about right. Okay, that's got the air filters all changed. As you can see, I've been changing stuff. Right there's a stack of stuff. The trash can is practically overflowing. Hopefully the trash can don't complain too much. And so, okay, well, like I told you on that 8070, I couldn't really show you too well changing the hydraulic filters, because I had, like I say, I was on my creeper up underneath the thing, and so just too much hassle. However, this one here is easier, and so I think what I'm going to do is take and break this video right here and just create this a two-part. So we'll be back here in a little bit. Take care.